What's going on, everybody? This is Daylon Morrow, back again with another episode of the Mind of a Filmmaker podcast. What is going on? And today we got. Can I call you an alumni now?
Yeah, I would say this is round 3 for me now.
This is round 3. So we got Marcus today. What's going on, my guy? What's going on?
Oh, how you doing, brother? How you doing?
I'm good. This is kind of like on the fly, isn't it? Don't you think?
Well, we
try to
kind
do like a week in advance, right?
We kind of pre-planned it. I mean, a little bit this time.
Yeah.
But no, I kind of prefer just free flowing it.
Okay. We could probably try to do this more often then.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. Yeah, I was actually. It was funny that you wanted me on here because I was just talking to some people yesterday about recording some stuff, and then you text me. I'm like, well, that was perfect timing. So.
All right, so let's just get this out the way, man. All right, so
Madam Web.
Madam Web. So I saw it. I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. And I think around wait, let me hear me out. When I first heard of Madam Web, I saw the trailer. I saw the reversible Spider-Man.
Oh, you're talking about the guy in the god awful costume, Ezekiel Sims?
Is that who that is?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I am a comic book fan. I'm into Marvel more than DC. So if I see something regarding like Madam Web, I don't know, Hulk, Iron Man, whatever,
right,
I'll watch it. But this is something that I've never really like. I've never read like a whole bunch of the comic books, so I don't know if Madam Web is like how. Well,
she in the comics and in the old 90s cartoon, she is like a much older woman, like 60s. Well, she's got a head full of gray hair, I'll put it that way, but like 60s, 70s is how she's generally portrayed.
Okay. And so the girl from 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, Dakota Johnson. Yeah.
So like, okay, I'm cool with it because they cast everybody younger. So I'm guessing, maybe we get to see more of, I guess, them.
Well, it bombed, so thankfully we won't ever see a sequel to that.
Why? I mean, like, what was the gripe about this movie?
Everything. So I didn't think it would be possible to make a movie worse than Morbius.
Okay.
But they surprisingly pulled it off.
I didn't like Morbius myself.
Look, 9 times out of 10, when you go to a superhero movie, you expect the protagonist or protagonist to eventually suit up. And they never did. That you had the one flashback scene where they killed Ezekiel, which more or less set the whole plot of the movie off as far as him trying to kill the girls. Yeah. And then you had kind of like the flash forward scene at the end where they were all costume. Yeah, but they pretty much went the whole movie not ever getting their powers or doing anything. And Madam Web just kind of just had like her little like her precognitive abilities, and that was it. And it was like, so you went into a superhero origin movie and they more or less was no origin that actually happened except for Cassandra.
Yeah. So okay, I get why you'd be upset about that.
That would be like you watch. I don't know. That'd be like if you watched the Iron Man movie and Tony went the whole movie and never invented.
Without being in action.
Yeah, never making one of his suits. Like the whole movie is just him trying to keep other people from stealing his technology, but then he just never. He just goes to like, I don't know, the FBI or whatever, and then like they just take care of it for him or whatever. And then you be like, well, what was the point of that?
Okay, I'll let y'all have that gripe.
And then I thought the way she got blinded and paralyzed was lame.
Was her she got blasted in the face by the explosion, right?
By one of the fireworks after she had already fell in the water.
Right. Okay.
But it's like what paralyzed her. All she did was just fell off the ledge into the river.
Yeah. Okay.
Like if she had like hit her back on something, like Like she had clipped her back on like I don't know.
As she fell.
Yeah, something like that. But she just and yeah. And then the next scene she laid up and then she was in the wheelchair.
Like was Dr. X.
Professor X.
Professor X.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even still with Professor X, at least in First Class, you saw him take that bullet in his lower back, and you're just like, okay, well, we saw it.
You saw how he became in the chair.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
No, I just it just didn't really nothing in the movie clicked or connected. I'll give you another example, like with Mike Epps. He's barely in the movie for 20 minutes at best.
Yeah.
And then she had the vision, and by that point, she had already had 3 or 4 of them, right?
Yeah.
And she had the vision of him dying, and she's getting him CPR.
Yeah.
Then like she just makes this half-assed attempt, like maybe you should let me drive the ambulance, and then he's like, nah. She's like, oh, okay. And he just rolls down the street and gets plowed by a truck.
Yeah.
And then he just dies. And then later on, she's all like, I kind of really want to go to the funeral. It's like, so this is supposed to be your coworker that you care about.
Yeah.
You had to vision him dying. You didn't really do anything about it. After you already had like enough visions to know like something ain't right, and then you're just like, eh.
Another thing that I probably didn't like, or I was kind of confused about, I guess where in the timeline of, I guess Spider-Man's timeline.
Well, and that's the other big gripe about it is, this is Sony's Spider-Man universe, but up to this point, you've had a Spider-Man universe with no Spider-Man,
right?
But then you have Peter born in Madam Web.
That's what I'm like. Oh, okay. So this is 03. It takes place in 03.
So, and that's the thing. They're trying to make the timeline match up. But what Spider-Man are they trying to make it line up to? Is it Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, or Andrew Garfield?
Because I'm like, it wouldn't make sense.
It's not clear.
It can't be the original one, the main one.
Tobey, yeah.
Tobey Maguire. Because that was out already in like, what, 02?
Right.
And he was already in high school.
Right.
So that can't work. So then
well, really, you can't really work with the other two either.
Why?
You got 2003. Amazing Spider-Man came out in 2012, same year as the first Avengers. So what would that make Peter? 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He'd only be 9. But that was Andrew Garfield. Okay. Tom Holland.
He's still a baby. He's still
right, but Tom Holland's in MCU. That's a whole nother universe.
Oh yeah, because that's Tom Holland's. That's
right.
He's
in the MCU.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. So you mean tell me you've got Venom, Carnage, Morbius, Madam Web, all these other characters running around, and the upcoming Kraven the Hunter. So you've got at least a good 10 or 11 people from Spider-Man canon that are running around, and he's just now being born in 2003.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
All right, so...
And then not to mention, remember Vulture got transferred from the main MCU to the Sonyverse because of Doctor Strange's spell.
Yes.
And then they're all like, well, I think Spider-Man has something to do with it. Let's team up and find out what happened. What are you gonna find out if he's just now being born? He can't do nothing. So yes, Sonyverse, trash it. Just throw it down the toilet. Just say, hey, we give up, and just go tomorrow and be like, hey, look, we don't know what we're doing. We're doing a worse job than what Warner Brothers did with the DCEU. Just here's a blank check. Just whatever you want in here, we'll sell it back to you. We'll sell the Spider-Man rights back to you for that price, and just call it a day.
They send up a lot of stuff, I think, in the Marvel universe, the main Marvel universe. I think they're setting up for like the Hulk and stuff, right?
As far as what? Just
bringing it back to, I think they're bringing everybody from the whole Hulk universe, the original Hulk, She-Hulk.
Well, I guess that all depends on what happens in Brave New World that comes out, I think, next year.
Okay.
Cause have some of the toys leaked. Well, I shouldn't say leaked, but some of the toys came out more or less leaked that Thaddeus Ross will finally become Red Hulk in Brave New World.
Okay, I think that's what.
And I think it did leak out that Mark Ruffalo is in it. But I think they tried to turn.
That's the '80s Hulk, ain't it? Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, he's the one that's the MCU now.
Okay, that's what I
you thinking of Bill Bixby.
Is it Bill Bixby?
Yeah, as far as '80s Hulk, because remember he did the TV show.
Right. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. So I saw last week was you know what Summer Jam is, right? You know what Summer Jam is, right?
The concert?
Yeah.
Was it you talking about? What was it? I think Redman said he wasn't coming back because of the age gap.
Was it Redman or I thought it was Method Man that said that.
It was. I know it was one of them. I can't remember which one, but I know one of them said
I think
that.
It was Method Man. Method Man last week after doing his performance with Summer Jam, he said he's not coming back because of the age gap. If you saw the footage, I think you've seen the footage, haven't you?
I didn't see the footage, but I just heard about it.
So in the footage, it's them performing, I think, the Rock Water. And the whole crowd isn't like going wild like me and you probably know. Because I think it's like it was a crowd full of like teenagers. They don't really understand like who they really are.
They just don't know the music.
Yeah. So I'm feeling like, and he says in the tweet that it's the age gap. How do you think we could probably either close it, or do you think we can be able to close it, get it closed a little bit more?
So my thing is this. As far as closing the age gap, I mean, music is timeless. Good music is timeless. Good movies are timeless. Like, I mean, my argument to that is you have a lot of kids today who listen to Tupac. They listen to DMX. And those are guys that have been around since the 90s. So good music will always find its audience. And hip hop has to always evolve, right? Yeah. That's part of the issue as to why, rock and roll is not as popular as it used to be, because I don't know if it's more so much the age gap. I just don't think there's a lot of rock bands in the current era that are putting out good music that resonates. I mean, to keep on that, like I'll say, for example, like, how a lot of people complain about how there's always rap or R&B acts at the Super Bowl now.
Right.
Okay, so when you ask a person which rock group you think should play at the Super Bowl,
right,
they don't name anybody current. It's always Kiss, Metallica, Twisted Sister. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Guys and groups that were relevant like 30, 40 years ago. I mean, when you think like guys our age, when you ask us about current rock we like, what do we say? We'll say like Linkin Park,
maybe Blink-182.
Right. But how long they been around? They've been around at least
early 2000s.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like 90s.
Yeah,
maybe?
Coldplay.
Yeah.
Imagine Dragons.
Yeah.
And shit, Imagine Dragons been out since like what, 2006?
At least, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So past that,
Ozzy Osbourne maybe, but I think he probably.
But Ozzy, I mean, Ozzy started out with Black Sabbath. Now it was like what, 70s?
Yeah, late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, and then now my man out here living a retired life back in England.
Oh, he is back in England?
Yeah, he moved back recently, but to close the, I mean, that's kind of a tough question, just because I don't know. Like, I don't really think there's no closing the age gap. I just think that Method Man should keep doing his thing.
its audience will come. You know.
Well, yeah, because like, don't stop doing the concert. If you keep doing the concert, the teenagers are gonna be like, oh man, this guy is hard. Like, let me check out the rest of his catalog, and then it'll work itself out. And then like, if the concert keeps going, then hopefully the next time he performs, they'll know who he is and will go crazy. You can't just be like, oh man, like just one time they know who I am, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like they don't like age gap.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always gonna be an age gap in every art form. There's age gap. There's an age gap with Star Wars fans. There's an age gap with hip hop fans. There's an age gap with Lord of the Rings fans. There's an age gap with, I don't know. I mean, hell, I could say now there's an age gap in Bad Boys fans. I mean, there's kids now that's going to see
Bad Boys.
Yeah, the current Bad Boys. They probably haven't seen the first or the second one. They just know, oh, it's Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. They probably watched a couple episodes of Fresh Prince or a couple episodes of Martin with their parents or their uncle or older cousin. They see a trailer for, Bad Boys Ride or Die. Well, heck yeah, I'm going to go see that.
Right.
So, I mean, there's an age gap in everything, but you shouldn't let it discourage you from continuing to perform your art. Yeah. Like I said, I feel like if your art is good, it will transcend time. But if you go around worrying about that, it's not gonna do any good for you. I mean, if that's the case, nobody in the generation after us is watching Scarface or Godfather Part 2. Like, nothing's keeping those movies relevant, but they still are.
Yeah.
So you can't really worry about an age gap. That's just life. But like I said, if your art is good, it'll reach an audience regardless. That's just how I feel about it personally. That's just like how, to kind of elaborate more on the age gap thing, that's just like how, you'll have people that say, oh, like once you get a certain age, you can't or shouldn't do this anymore. And, just, you can't worry about an age gap, whether it's how you dress, what movies you watch, what music you listen to. Because if that's the case, I'm pushing 40, so I can't listen to Sexy Red or Glorilla.
You listen to Sexy Red or Glorilla?
Yeah, hell yeah, I do. Why not? Huh?
Comfortably, or you just listen to it because it's on the radio?
No, comfortably. No reason why. I mean, I'll put it to you this way. Like when I say transcending time, for me, Sexy Red and Glorilla are no more or less ratchet than, say, Lil' Kim, Foxy Brown, Adina Howard.
Was she a rapper back then?
Who?
Adina Howard. Or was she just R&B artist?
She was a rapper.
Was it you that said that?
Huh?
Was it you that told me that? Or was it somebody else? I feel like it was somebody else.
Maybe, but I did bring up the fact that, people always say these days are all Sexy Red is so ratchet. Her music is so ghetto, blase. But I'm like, but you had all these other women's rappers in the 90s and the 80s talking about I mean, I was listening to MC Lyte on the way over here, and she talking about, yeah, I need a roughneck, dragging his Timbs and so on and so forth. So it's like, what did MC Lyte and TLC say? Red Light Special. What is so different? What they were saying back then versus now? Like,
I think back then it was.
But
how subtle it was.
It was more so, but even if you watch the Red Light video, Chili and them, they're doing like this, and they're making all these gestures and talking about going down, and maybe it's not as perverse, they're not using as many cuss words, like they're more artistic about it, but or even SMV, like if you go back and really listen to the lyrics, their song Rain, it's more or less about being cummed on.
Okay, that's what I was about to get.
Yeah, so it's more so back then, but they're still nasty. Like, it was maybe a little bit more cleaned up back then, but of course now, Suki Hana, they're saying flat out, lick my booty hole and this, that, and the other. Like they're more ghetto and straightforward about it, but the message is still the same. That's just how I look at it. Like, so I'm not about to be like, oh, I can't have my little girl listen to this. Like, but you were 12 years old listening to this, but it was just, a tad bit more cleaner. Yeah. But they were still talking about getting down. So it's just, this is
what
how
you gonna do?
Right. What you gonna do? Like, you mad just because, they're selling the sex different in 2024 than how they were back in 1994. They're still selling sex and head. Like, let's just get to the nitty-gritty.
Get down to the point.
Yeah. It is what it is.
So you said you went to go see Bad Boys.
I did.
What did you think about it overall? Like, did you enjoy it all the way through? Do you have gripes with that one too?
No, I loved it all the way through. The most thing I probably enjoyed about it was they're playing up the fact that they're getting old.
I think they were doing that last year though too. The last movie they were doing that.
Not as much. Well, because in this movie, Martin has a full-on heart attack because he has bad eating habits, and I'm scared. You know what I'm saying? And Will keeps having panic attacks. In the older movies, he's like jumping on the hood, like he's doing all the dangerous stuff, while Marcus was always like, oh my god, Mike. He was always kind of like the neurotic one, but now Mike is all like he's not as quick now to jump into danger because it's scaring him now because he's getting older. He's not as fast as he used to be. So I like that because a lot of action movies, they don't acknowledge the heroes getting right. Like like Schwarzenegger and Stallone, they're still moving around and kicking ass like they're still in '85. Rocky and Rambo, they kind of touched on that a little bit. Well, I shouldn't say a little bit. Rocky more than Rambo, but I don't think a lot of action movies touch on the stars getting older. Like Jason Statham. My man's still moving like
he still got some years on him though. For real.
He does, but at the same time, like Crank came out in like 2002. Yeah. So. And he still had the same receding hairline since like.
But he's always had like a baldy though, don't you think? Like he always either had the.
Yeah, he's always had baldy. He has, but I don't think there's any movie he's done that plays up the fact that he's
45 years old.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like even the Fast and Furious movies, I don't think any of them played up the fact that
he's always played like I think a couple of roles he's done. He's played like. Father in a sticky situation and
who Vin Diesel?
No,
Jason Statham.
And I think in the Beekeeper, didn't he fight after his daughter?
I have not seen that one yet.
I haven't either, but I feel like in the synopsis it says that he's like going after his daughter. He's trying to save his daughter or his family or something. And then it was one where he was like he was working in the money transporting.
When he was the gangster that infiltrated the he did have, remember, because his son got killed at the beginning. Then that's when he
dressed up.
More or less wanted to cover protecting the money trucks and all that.
Exactly. That was the one that I saw.
Yeah.
And he had a son in that one. So
remember.
It depends on what movie you see.
Right.
Yeah. Let me see. Bad Boys. Let me see. I got my notes. Madam Web.
Did you see Planet of the Apes, the new one?
I haven't. It's like I'm kind of behind on my moves. I've been too busy to like even want to like go out and go see movies. I seen I saw the TV Glow. So like I said, that was at so I saw the TV Glow was at
Sundance. Okay.
I seen bits and pieces of it there while I was out there, but I didn't see it like from beginning to end. So when I saw that it was coming into theaters now, I was like, let me go see this from beginning to end.
So let me flip the script a little bit. What movies did you see at Sundance?
None. I mean, I seen like So I'm gonna just be honest. I didn't really see a whole bunch of movies.
Okay.
The way the scheduling is like all set up. You know, you gotta be within I guess the distance of your workplace. So depending on the days, I'm not even able to really like go out.
So lay it out for me. Like, what was your average? Because you're out there for a week, 2 weeks.
It's a 2-week duration of like movies, awards.
So lay it out for me. Like, what exactly was like your schedule out there?
So probably Monday through Friday. 1 week it'll probably be like 9 to 5, and so then from 9 to 5, I'm chilling at the house pretty much.
Okay.
In a way, I might go hang out with the people that I work with. We'll probably go walk the strip. We'll go probably do something. We don't really go see movies unless it's like the volunteer night. Oh, I did see a couple movies. I saw Didi. That's a foreign probably Thai movie.
Okay.
It kind of puts you in the mind of the mid-90s. You remember mid-90s, right? Have you seen the mid-90s?
Talking about that movie that A24 put out?
Yes.
I did not see it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yes. So it's kind of like that, except it's probably not backed by the guy from Superbad.
Okay.
It's the same thing. Young teenager trying to find himself in his teenage years, go through ups and downs, find himself, blah blah blah.
Okay.
I liked it because of that, and then I seen Freaky Tales.
Okay.
Freaky Tales had Pedro Pascal, Too Short, and some other people.
That's an interesting combination itself, Pedro Pascal and Too Short.
Well, that's the thing. It's like when you think of Freaky Tales, right?
Yeah.
What do you think when you hear Freaky Tales? What do you think of?
Yeah, there's gonna be some freak shit going down, especially when you said Too Short. I mean, listening to his music, you know what Too Short's all about.
Yes. And so when I saw, I seen like a good amount of it. I probably seen like half of it.
Okay.
Maybe a quarter of it, not the whole entire movie.
So obviously it was the opposite of what I was thinking when I first heard it.
What? Freaky Tales?
Yeah.
So what did you think it was?
That's why I said like some freaky shit.
It's maybe like, I don't know, because it says it's it's not episodic. It's like it's 3 different stories, but it's like
so it's like an anthology.
It's an anthology film.
Okay.
It's like 3 different views. It's some punk rockers from Oakland, this rap group from Oakland, and then it's like Pedro Pascal, who's like a cop or something like that.
Okay.
And they're trying to figure out what's going on in the city of Oakland. From what I've seen, I really wanted to see more. And I'm hoping that comes out soon. I saw the TV Glow, the one movie, you said Civil War, right?
Yes.
That was at Sundance. That's out. I saw the trailer for Freaky Tales, and I think that's coming out soon.
Well, I definitely need you to see Civil War because that's actually a big one I actually would like to discuss with you on the
podcast.
On the show.
Okay.
Because it's very like it's very triggering in a way because the plot ties in a lot into like what's currently going on in our current political scene, and it's a very real thing that could potentially happen.
So it's like the Purge. Is it like the Purge kind of?
In a sense, yeah. I mean, you could probably consider like a sister story to the Purge.
But it's not based on like horror. It's more like political.
Yeah, it's scary as shit. I mean, like I said, because it's a very real potential scenario. But especially I don't want to spoil. There is one scene where the main characters come across some white supremacists in a wooded area, And I'll just leave it at that. Like I said, I don't want to get too spoilerific since you haven't seen it yet. I mean, it's pretty messed up.
It's all good. It's all good. So to kind of piggyback off of what we were just talking about,
Okay.
the age gap and everything.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the legends, Commons, LL Cool J, Common and P Rock got an album out. I think LL and is it Q-Tip, LL Cool J and Q-Tip, they just dropped a song. And I think somebody else got another album. Oh, Nas and Premier. They got.
I think the Nas one actually just popped up on my my YouTube app the other day, and like on the new releases, because actually just a couple days ago I listened to Rhapsody's whole album from beginning to end, like in one day. And like I said, I mean, you know, she's a great lyricist, great subject matter. She got a couple, you know, collabs with Lil Wayne and stuff. And like I said, I think, you know, good music will find its audience. Because, you know, Rhapsody has a real kind of like tomboyish, throwback kind of look and sound and feel.
Me an MC Light though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So when you mention the age gap in hip hop,
Yeah.
it's just, like I said, that's just part of life. People get older, new audiences come in. I mean, you can't really worry about that. Like I said, if your art is good, your art will find an audience. So there's no reason why Rhapsody shouldn't appeal to. I mean, she's a newer artist. Like, she's been out for 20 years. So if Rhapsody keeps putting out good music, she'll resonate with
The new generation.
Yeah, or any generation. My generation, the one that's coming up. After us. I mean, you're a couple years behind me. My generation, your generation coming after us, or even the generation that's 40, 50 years old that, I grew up on Kid and Play and so on and so forth.
So to kind of keep that going.
Okay.
So I know it was an interview that KRS-One did with somebody, and he was like, they asked him like, how do you feel about, I guess the two generations, the old generation and the new generation? What do we have to do, to work together? And I think he said something like, each generation has to teach each other something.
He's absolutely right about that.
Yeah, he was saying that they, the younger generation needs to teach. The younger generation needs to teach the old generation how to adapt to the new internet age. And then,
well, I think that goes both ways.
Explain why.
So, like, for example, to go back to what we said, so a younger guy I work with, he's like 20, 21. He told me one time that I was the youngest old head that he had ever met.
Okay.
And I asked him to elaborate what he meant by that, and he's just like, he's like, I know the current slang, I listen to Sexy Red, I guess because I still dress like a young guy, like how I'm dressed now, even though, because I wear the shorts and the jeans, it's got the rhinestones on them and all that. And, I guess I'm not supposed to wear Jordans no more, and
you got to turn into Stacey.
Yeah, Stacey Adams and New Balance and this, that, and the other. But like I said to him, I said, how can I relate to you and get you to understand where I'm coming from if I don't meet you where you're at first and bring you up to my level? And he thought about it for a second. He was like, well, that does make sense. I said, yeah. I said, if I'm going to you and I'm talking to you in a manner that you're not used to or don't understand, you're not going to waste time hearing what I have to say.
Look here, young blood.
Yeah, and that's, that's kind of the grudge I should say grudge, but that's one of the things I always resented towards my dad's generation because they didn't try to meet my generation where we were and bring them to their level. They're just like, man, they just threw their hands up there and they're like, man, I don't understand these young cats these days. I'm just gonna wash my hands of them. Whoops, and just be done with it. And you just letting these young brothers kill each other and go to jail, and they weren't offering no advice, no type of guidance, just throw my hands up of them. So that's one thing. And me with the line of work I'm in, I more often than not work with younger people.
Right.
So if I'm not, like I said, if I'm not using their slang, walking how they walk.
Man, stop capping.
You know what I'm saying? Stop the cap. You know what I'm saying? That type, like, you know what I'm saying? If I'm not meeting them where they are, they're not worried about anything I have to say.
They're just gonna look at you like, okay, old head.
Yeah, like, man, get this old head ass, MFR out of my face. You know what I'm saying? But once I relate to them, like how you call me, brother knowledge. Once I relate to them and get their attention, then I can drop whatever nuggets of knowledge that I have to offer to them.
Yeah.
But like I said, I have to meet them where they're at first, and then bring them to my level. And that's the thing, like, some people look at it as like, well, I'm singing to their level, but what level am I really singing to? Like I said, I'm just figuring out ways to relate to the new generation.
Right.
But like I said, that goes both ways. The young generation have to teach the old generation basically the two generations have to teach each other how to relate and understand each other, and then that's when we can come together. But until somebody decides to make that effort,
we lost.
Right.
And I was thinking, like, regarding like the young generation teaching the old generation and vice versa. Why do you think Curtis Blow and the Curtis Blow and Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5? Why do you think that went out of style? Like, when do you think was that like early 80s, late 80s?
Mm-hmm.
So that was that's the crack era. So
yeah, like 88, 89.
Okay, so then that was going into.
What do you mean by why do I think they went out of style?
How do you think that went out of style? Because I'm like, LL Cool J, all of them, they're making music now.
Mm-hmm.
Why not have them? Why didn't they do that? I guess the early 90s, so like 92, 93. Like, what was that disconnect? If you have an actual answer, like, I'm not trying to just.
No, I just think they probably just didn't want to adapt to the times.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of artists that get stuck in their ways, but I mean, especially musicians. I think a lot of musicians don't want to adapt to the times, adapt to what's going on around them.
They just want to fade out.
Yeah, I mean, just like, okay, I'll just to pivot way left here. It's kind of like how, because I know I'm not sure if you're like really current update that, but it's just like how the style of pro wrestling, like wrestling, is a lot faster paced now, as opposed to what it was 80s and 90s. Yeah. I mean, you look at wrestling now. I mean, a guy will use like his finishing move like 3 seconds into the match, or they're doing all kind of flips and dives now. Yeah. Or as opposed to 20 years ago, two guys would just lock up and and just keep rolling around until they got the crowd into their frenzy.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, a guy will grab a steel chair like 10 minutes to the match. They just start, they'll just start teeing into each other. But a lot of guys didn't adapt to the style, so their careers just fade away. But presentation, all that, you got to update your presentation. what you're talking about, what you're rapping about. I mean, like you said, Grandmaster Flash, Brand Nubian was another group that kind of just came and went.
Because Brand Nubian was a part of that woke, Black
Power. That Black Power. Era of hip hop. Brand Nubian, Queen Latifah, all them.
Ladies first.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But also, kind of the thing too is, a lot of times too, the studio dictates, what music you make, and if you don't bow to the studio's need or wherever the A&R man used to tell you back in the day, hit the road.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it too, that's why a lot of artists aren't really interested in signing with major labels anymore. They just stay independent.
Yeah.
I mean, and why not? They have more options now. I mean, just like, with the YouTube Music app.
The YouTube Music, they got
SoundCloud, SoundCloud,
and everything like that.
Yeah, especially with streaming, you don't need a major record label to put your own stuff out on streaming. Just do it. Do it yourself.
I think I've heard a couple interviews on podcasts where certain youth, younger artists, they'll probably say they probably sign with the bigger label,
right,
to get a bigger backing,
right,
instead of just doing it by themselves,
right.
So that makes sense though.
Or probably just easier for them on the distribution.
Yeah.
But that's just the same thing as doing these podcasts. You don't have to go to school anymore and get good at hosting a radio show and having a degree in broadcasting and things of that sort. Just buy the equipment, get you a couple cameras and a mic, and some people that want to come on and talk about stuff. All of a sudden, you're getting hits on the internet, and you get enough hits, you're making enough money.
Yeah.
And you did all that without having to go to the Breakfast Club and audition and or a Hot 97. Just do it.
Yeah.
That's just part of the game now. Just how it is.
Makes sense. So I think I got it's one more thing I got on my notes. What did you want to talk about? I know you said you wanted to talk about something specifically. Or did we already talk about what you needed to talk about?
When we were talking about the age gap, and I kind of tied into fashion into it when you were asking me about my jerseys, and you had made the comment about I said I like standing out. That's why I was buying all these different type of jerseys. You said I always stand out.
Yeah.
And I said I want to talk about it on the podcast. Right. So yesterday, I had somebody I know say a very interesting thing to me, and this kind of ties into the age gap to a degree, and because like I said, just you can't really what I said earlier about you can't really worry about what society says about you, no matter what. You just have to just kind of do your own thing.
Yeah.
So somebody said a very interesting thing to me yesterday, to where because me, I always try to look fly, especially if I'm actually going somewhere and I want to be seen. Yeah. But I had a woman tell me yesterday that that I look like I may be bi-curious because I know, right? Because because I'm well put together and I take care of my look. So to put it in better context, let me double back and just to look at the conversation.
Oh, somebody text you.
Yeah, this was all in some text.
Okay.
And after we had a conversation about it, I said, man, maybe I need to start my own podcast and say, talk about people's different viewpoints in America.
She tried to call you out, yo.
Right. How did it? And I'm like, this is a hell of a conversation to have on Juneteenth at that.
Speaking of Juneteenth, what did you do yesterday?
I saw I like went downtown for like one of the parades.
Okay.
I didn't really do a whole lot. Like, man, it was stupid hot yesterday. After I went outside for a little bit, sweated out.
Yeah.
I went back home to my air conditioning. But yeah, we were talking about a couple different topics, and she talked about her look, and she said that her look doesn't necessarily scream that she's her look. She said her look doesn't imply that she's straight, and because we were talking about some different things she's dealing with, being a bisexual woman, and I had said, what does a straight person look like? I said, because you don't necessarily look bisexual. And then I followed up, I said, well, do I look straight? If straight people have a look. And like she said, she's like, yeah, you look straight and give off straight vibes, but at the same time, you look like you could be bi-curious. And I'm like, how? And she said, you're just very well put together. You take good care of yourself. You always make sure you're well presented. And I said, I don't know if that's a generational thing. I said, because that's how I was raised by my parents. Because I told her, I said, you gotta think, my dad is a 71-year-old black man. My mom, if she were still living today, would be a 70-year-old black woman from Mobile, Alabama. And especially down south, their generation, they wore a 3-piece suit just going down the house just to go get some milk and some bread. They dressed a certain way at all times. I mean, my mom's.
Well, so what era did they grow up in? Like the 70s or like early 60s or like late 60s?
Well, like I said, my dad's 71, so he was like, 50s, 60s, 70s, so on. So I mean, I got an old picture of my dad where he's wearing like a pinstripe suit with a pinstripe suit with a jerry curl. I mean, because I was looking, they wear a 3-piece suit, and they had like the little pocket watch with the chain connected to it. That was the look and the era he was growing up in.
Yeah.
So that's how I was raised. You going out somewhere,
Look sharp.
Yeah, look sharp, look presentable. And then, this is also somebody I know from me doing the conventions. And like I said to her, I'm not about to be spending hundreds of dollars, for the professional photo ops with all these actors and celebrities, and I'm looking like a slob.
There you go.
So, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm not about to come out the house with, mustard stain on my shirt. You know what I'm saying? My beard is all, my beard's all fucked. Yeah, my beard's all matted and fucked up. I ain't got no deodorant on. Like, you can see dirt under my fingernails. Like, what are we doing? Like, I was just blown away the fact that just doing like regular, I guess, upkeep and maintenance would give somebody that vibe that, maybe I play for both teams, or I just thought that was, and it was just so funny to me how, like I said, we live in a world now to where somebody can have that thought. But like I said, maybe it's a generational thing, because like I said, for me, I mean, and like I said, you're not that far behind me. You're always posting. I mean, looking at you now, you get a haircut like what, every week, every other week?
Every other week, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you never let yourself fall off.
I mean, if you ask my mom, I'll probably let myself go this week, but
even still, a whole week.
Yeah. I don't go nowhere. I go to work and I come home.
Right.
I'm not out and about, at parties and in female spaces.
Right.
As much as I would love to be.
But even still, you have the routine, and in your mind you want to be fresh.
Fresh to death, like movie books.
Right. But I think that's just how a lot of us brothers are. You know, we always making sure that we're on point.
So to piggyback on the convention look or whatever, I know you've seen those memes of, I guess, the dirty guys, the skin
that don't wear deodorant.
They don't wear deodorant. They be having skid marks on the chairs.
That's very real. There's a lot of people that don't wear deodorant or they stink. It's terrible. It's awful. That's why I said that's why I guess I didn't harp on it too much, because I could to a degree see where she's coming from, but at the same time, like, just because I put soap and water on myself, like, that means or I may potentially be like. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't. And she even said that too. She was like, you know, that probably never crossed my mind if that wasn't the norm. And I'm like, where are you at? That's not the norm. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know there's a lot of dirty, filthy, sweaty people out there that don't, but not enough for me to say that's close to the norm. I think I've been around more people that are quote unquote clean than unclean. To me, anyway. But like I said, you know, she's speaking from her experience, because I guess whatever part of Indiana she's from, you know, I guess they're not.
That's the country, though, ain't it? Don't you think? He's in Indiana, right?
Depends on. Well, she's from Terre Haute, Indiana, which is kind of country, but even still, like, I wouldn't think that all the country guys down there are not washing up. But to go back to what you said, yeah, I wouldn't say a lot, but there are enough people to where, like, you can walk past and, like, you can smell somebody, like, underarm wind, and you're just like, man, like, who is that? Like, if I find out who that is, I'm gonna punch him in the face just for coming out the house that dirty.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's real.
I just thought that was kind of wild to see. Like, it was like three white chairs.
Somebody left a streak.
It was like three streaks on each chair. I'm like, that's.
I've never seen it that bad, but that wouldn't surprise me. As messed up as it is for me to say, but that wouldn't surprise me at all.
That's why I'm kind of scared to, like, go. I'm not really scared, but it's just like, I'm not sure what I'm about to get myself into when I think of, like, the convention and stuff.
I mean, you're probably psyching yourself out a little bit, but
I believe it.
Yeah.
It looked like from the pictures that you be uploading, you be getting all the girls, yo, all the little nerdy.
People say that so much all the time.
You be? I don't know how do you build friends from that type of thing? Like,
how do I what?
Get friends? Like, you just like, hey, you like X-Men? Yeah, I like X-Men. All right, cool.
So and that's the funny thing about it. Like, people think that, like, I'm going. And they look at my pictures and they think like I'm some type of, like, white girl whisperer. They think I'm, like, just banging all these chicks out left and right, which I'm really not. Like, you know, like, I wouldn't say necessarily that, but, you know, you just get to having casual conversation. After a while, you see kind of some of the same people over and over at shows. So after a while, you know, we start, you know, hanging out at the shows, getting drinks, getting food, whatever. Getting to know each other a little better, you know, get to talking, having, like, real non-superficial conversation, and it just goes from there. But
I guess what I'm noticed is, I guess your convention or what my convention is like Sundance,
right?
Because every year I'll meet somebody, Kevin, you know, that first year, and then me and Kevin will, like, stay in contact when the convention, when Sundance is over, and each year we'll come back and we become closer and closer.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, we all keep in touch through Facebook or Instagram or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, once you start getting to know each other in between shows and build a camaraderie. Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, I'm not. It's not like just link them just like, hey, here's my hotel room. Meet me there. At like 1 morning, and we'll just start. Doing whatever. Don't get me wrong. There are people that hook up, and I'm probably gonna catch hell for admitting this on your show, but don't. Yeah, there are people that hook up, but in my case, it's not like I've ran through like 20 or 30 different women and they just keep coming back for more. And that's the thing that kills me. I've never actively done anything to have that persona. I think people just give social media like too much stock and just read too much into things. And because this was another conversation, and man, we're probably gonna be here all night talking about it. But so a lot of guys that I know that don't go to the conventions, we had this big debate, and someone was at work too. And I've had people tell me up front that they legit don't believe that men and women can't just be friends. And I'm like, well, I have a ton of female acquaintances that I've never done anything with.
Yeah.
I'm like, so, and most of the women that I know, and that's the other thing too, is most of the women that I know from the conventions are either married or have a boyfriend.
That's what I was going to ask you too. I was like, how many of those females?
Yeah, so you're assuming that I'm boning a bunch of married women. Like, come on, I just no.
So I got one more thing.
What you got
on my list? So you remember they tried to reboot, or have you seen the reboot of Good Times? It's like a reboot, updated reboot.
Wasn't it like supposed to be animated or something like that?
Yeah.
I want to say I saw an episode uploaded onto my YouTube feed, but I immediately just skipped because some things should just be left alone. I mean, Good Times is a classic.
Right.
I'm not with Hollywood's obsession with rebooting and restarting all the old classics. I think some things are a period of their time.
Yeah.
Like how you gonna reboot Family Matters? Like, would that even work today? I mean, because like in case of Family Matters, I think being a nerd is a lot cooler now than what being a nerd was back in the 90s. So people are not going to have like that same type of, I'll put it this way, like a Carl Winslow of this era wouldn't have that same contempt of Urkel than they would back then, or like or a Laura Winslow of now versus back then. I mean, now Urkel can get a whole lot more play without having to turn into Stefan. Than what he would have had to back then.
Yeah.
So
that was like back in that time, you had to be either sexy or a thug, right?
More or less.
Not necessarily sexy, but like
you had to be like a Bobby Brown.
Yeah, it was like Bobby Brown, but then you also had Sticky Fingers. Who was
Sticky Fingers
like,
or stuff like
like Sticky Fingers, or you had to be Bobby Brown.
Or you could be a Nas back then, where like you kind of had some street in you, but you were smart.
And then you had that like subtle sex appeal, I guess, within the
right. Yeah. Right. Well, a guy like Urkel, you know what I'm saying? He can get Laura now, like just like that, and like there wouldn't be like no, yeah, like there wouldn't be no struggle in that regard at all. He just instead of like however many seasons it took him to finally get Laura, and he had kind of like the love triangle with like Laura and Myra. That wouldn't even be a thing now. But again, at the same time, even now, in this era, Steve would probably be like, man, like, what am I doing? Myra's all over. Like, he'd go with Myra right away. Yeah. It wouldn't be a thing.
So, yeah, to piggyback off of that to bring up, the reason why I was bringing up the Good Times reboot, animated reboot. They're doing Everybody Hates Chris.
I heard about that. Everybody still hates Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually just heard about it today.
Okay. 'Cause I saw that yesterday. I'm like, if it's gonna be like The Good Times, I don't want to see it.
So it's supposed to be animated?
Yeah.
So they just not want to pay the actors money to do live action or what?
But that's the thing. I'm like, why is everybody doing the animated reboot of a show? Like, they could just do live action. You know, if they're gonna do like Everybody Hates Chris, do his, you know, that was when he was a child. So now, after Chris's, you know, he went to high school. We don't know if he didn't go to college. Chris Rock didn't go to college. So now we could probably do some similar to like a Young Sheldon. Well, not necessarily Young Sheldon, but like taking that same kind of element.
They're probably just throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks, just because, like how I think me and you discussed before. There's just so many different streaming options out there.
Right.
On some level, you gotta do something different to get people's attention. I mean, Paramount Plus, they brought back Frasier, I think it was.
I think I do remember seeing that.
Yeah, so and Kelsey Grammer's like what, 78 years old.
Yeah.
Oh,
is it like the updated episode, like another season, or was it?
I think it's a new season.
Or it's kind of like.
But it is a reboot of the series.
Yeah. Okay. I think I do remember seeing that, because I think in the very beginning of like all this streaming and rebooting, you know, they had Fuller House, and that was
right.
Them, but like older, and so I'm like, okay.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm not sure what to really think of it.
Remember they brought Roseanne back too.
Yeah.
Until she started talking crazy and they killed her off, and then it was just the Connors.
Yeah. Anything that you want to? What else? Anything else you want to bring up?
Nah, man. I think we covered it for the most part. Unless you got, I mean, I can freestyle some more. Don't make me no difference. Like we can.
That's why I'm like, I'm trying to freestyle, but at the same time, I'm like, I think I ramble on too much, you know, with my episodes. So I try to like have a skeleton of what I want to talk about specifically.
I think the last time we went like well over an hour, didn't we?
Yeah, we had an hour and 2 minutes now.
Are we already?
Yep. I thought it was gonna be smaller than that. But yeah, so everybody, this is episode 33.
You're up to 33 episodes already?
Yeah, I just uploaded actually today. It's Thursday now at this recording. It's Thursday. I uploaded an episode with DJ Taka.
Okay.
You know who Taka is, right?
No. Should I?
I mean, do the Down Away.
Oh yeah.
So
okay.
I sat down with him.
Okay.
And he was managing. He got an artist, the Kid Damon, and he's working with him.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the newest episode I got up now. Check that out.
I'll definitely. Well, I know I'll check it out, but I was gonna say, since you had, what did you do for Juneteenth yesterday?
Worked.
What time did you get off?
6.
Okay.
So I think my aunt, she had like a little party, but I forget what time. I think it was like at like 2ish, 3ish, I think.
Okay.
So I couldn't really like.
Yeah, that was the thing, because really a lot of the Juneteenth stuff really happened last Saturday. Yeah, with it being on a Wednesday this year.
Yeah.
Because remember they had the block party downtown. Yeah, and you know that was packed like a madhouse.
I think somebody had uploaded some videos, and it was Lantana. I think Lantana was down there.
Okay.
I think my godmother, not my godmother, but my aunt, she was down there.
Did you, since I haven't watched it, did you want to talk about the Kendrick concert that he had yesterday for Juneteenth?
Yeah, so Kendrick Lamar, he had a
the little pop out concert
like
for Juneteenth.
Was it for Juneteenth? Is that what it was really for?
I think it just happened to happen on Juneteenth. Yeah.
So I had turned on. I wasn't on TikTok, and it was like a couple people. They were streaming the concert. So I'm like, What is this going on? And so I'm like, and I just found out that that's what that was. The Kendrick Lamar concert, and so I seen bits and pieces right then and there when they were streaming it, but then at the end of the day, I just watched a good half of it. I'm like, I enjoyed every bit of it, and it's kind of funny that he did They Not Like Us like 5-6 times.
That's like that's what I heard, but that's like the anthem now.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so this is the first. Well, because I'm thinking about back when Drake had the beef with
Pusha T.
And the back-to-back song was like the anthem of the summer or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I felt like every beef has its winner. You can't really just win every single beef that you're a part of.
Right.
One of these two guys have to be the loser. And for this whole saga of a beef, at first it was Kendrick, Drake, and J. Cole.
Right, but he dropped out really quickly.
And so then it was Drake and Kendrick, and then.
Well, I mean, I guess you kind of throw Rick Ross in there too, because he was dropping a lot of shade towards Drake,
white boy.
Yeah.
White boy.
Yeah, all the times he kept calling him white boy and talking about he should have bailed out Birdman and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But I mean, Drake definitely was the loser.
Yeah, I think so too.
This one, and lost hard. He gonna have to lay low for a while.
I mean, that's what I think he's doing now. He's just like simmering in his feet.
I mean, you have to when you gotta talk about certified lover boy, certified pet. Yeah, like I was just like there was just that line alone. There was no comeback, Drake. Just
cut it.
Yeah, just all right, man. You got me. And just go about your day.
Yeah,
cut it out.
All right, you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit that like button. All right. So, also, what I want to do.
What you got?
No, I'm just talking about in general.
Okay.
I want you guys to put some questions
in the
comments. And so then for the next episode, I'm gonna look at them, put them in my notes for the next episode, and we'll talk about them on the show.
I mean to cut you off, but I was gonna say too, have you ever thought about having people like call in?
I have not. I know it's possible because a couple times I've gotten calls from my mother.
Yeah.
Just from my phone, my mom calling me, and I can hear it on the board.
Yeah.
So I think it's possible, but I've never really thought about it. Should I do it?
I don't see why not.
But I don't want to give my number out. I think I'm.
Well, what about you? What about using like a burner phone just for the show?
I'll think about it.
Kind of like how you got your home phone, your work phone, just get you like a little crappy, like little.
Well, my mom, she got two phones. She has two numbers. She got the business number attached to her actual cell phone, and then she has her actual cell phone number.
Yeah, if I were you, that's what I would do.
That's probably okay. I'll think about it.
Kind of like like one time, like say like you try to do it live.
Yeah.
And then you have people call in with like questions, kind of like. Yeah, you call in, and then you have some people like if they don't want to call, they can, email you questions.
Yeah.
Or like you said, leave them in the comment section.
Yeah.
Of like a previous video.
Yeah.
And then you go, because that's what a lot of people are doing now that I'm noticing, to try to like update and keep the shows
fresh and
entertaining, and evolved.
I think that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. So all right. So officially. I'm going to, go, so you can send your questions, topics, put them in the comments down below. Send me a DM at the Mind of a Filmmaker Podcast Instagram with topics and questions. I'll read them and bring them up in the next episode. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Peace.